Hey friends, this is Giuliano. Let's get going and look at some Bitcoin price chart. It's Wednesday. It's the 26th of January, 2022. And I had done a video a couple days ago, but it was very laggy. So I'm excited and looking forward to bring something to you here today. Hopefully it's of value to you and it gives you something to think about, some food for thought. We're going to use some Neowave method, the Elliott wave, Glenn Neely style, let's call it, right? Yeah. And so where are we? We are on a 1 hour price chart. Here is when I was looking to make the video. It was around this 24th, where we were breaking out of this 2 to 4 trend line, okay, on this very minute degree. Let's actually bring that in. Let's go for it. Oh, actually, it's good. Okay, one. What did I do there? Painful. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of a move here. And we're confirming that where, all right, we brought some sort of a 0 to 2 trend line here. All right. It was broken here. So we were able to find a 4. Okay. Maybe we thought it was here, the 4, but then it broke down further. So here's our 2 to 4 trend line. Eventually we get an impulsive move to the downside here, potentially finishing this 5th. Now, how do we look for that potentiality? Let's dig in. So we are looking for that potentiality by seeing how long does it take this 5th wave to build. When the 2 to 4 trend line is hit here, okay, that we create, we have this 5th wave that builds, and then the reversal of the 5th wave, which breaks the 2 to 4 trend line. And we're looking, the next confirmation is reaches above, trades above, and I would prefer to say closes above this level of the 4 on a horizontal level. So the first confirmation is this 2 to 4 trend line, and it breaks it in less time than it takes to create. So that's a good confirmation there. And then we'll also check, does it break the horizontal level here? Does it break this horizontal level with in less time? So let's see what type of time we got. Let's go from here to the bottom here, and we say yes. Now I'm going to remove volume. Thank you for that suggestion and feedback. So here is this 1, the purple. This purple is 1. So it builds down to here in this amount of time and breaks above in less amount of time, about 1/3 of the time. And here's 1 to 1. So we close above it in less than that as well. So that's a good confirmation right there. If you wanted a bit of visual for the time. So that's the time confirmation, and the levels confirmation is hit. So there's a really good chance that we are done a 5th wave of this 3rd wave. There's a good chance we're done this 3rd wave, but on a certain level, it brings some questions into play, because in the previous video, I was talking about a nice 61.8% level around like 38,000, 37.5 is a nice 78.6 retracement of the bigger degree move. Bigger degree move from the lows here for the beginning of the B wave, potential B wave, to the top of the potential B wave, down to these lows here. It has actually surpassed this 78.6% down to an 88.6% level. That's wild. So in that sense, though, that brings up a question. The question is, are we even in a C wave of a flat pattern? Okay, are we in a C wave of a flat pattern? and I'll tell you why that question comes up. The other question becomes, well, then what would be if we're not stopping at around a 61.8% and there's something going on here? We're going to start looking at 78.6%. And the reason is, all right, in an if it's a flat pattern, we would need some sort of 5-wave impulse. We were looking for some sort of channeling. Yes, it could be irregular in the sense that the B wave exceeds the beginning of the A wave, and the C wave exceeds the beginning of the B wave, so that it's basically expanding like that for sure. And we can find some levels around 28,000 that work with where the price level has reached so far in this impulse. So it can work as a C, but there's still a possibility that this is not the correct way of counting in the Elliott wave sense, and it's not a flat pattern C wave. Okay, but so far this is the best likelihood in my humble opinion. None of this financial advice, but I hope you're enjoying it. I hope it's bringing you some thought-provoking value. Okay, so potentially though, based on the previous counting and such, we have a 1-wave here, a 2-wave here. Now we're finding that this 3-wave would be finishing here, and then we'd be looking for a 4th wave and then a 5th wave, considering that this 3-wave would be comprised of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we've been tracking. So there we go. We can say that we have it based on our now confirmation of a reversal on that smaller degree. Question is, are we in now this degree, this 4th wave here of this whole impulse, which would match with this 3rd wave degree? So we can look for retracements of this move. Okay, and so we'll do that. And then we can also then look for extensions of this 3rd wave to find where would the 5th wave be. But here's the problem that I'm seeing is that the 3rd wave is too close to the 1st wave in price length. Now in an impulse wave, one of the 3 impulsive waves, or the trending waves, one of the 3 trending waves should be extended. And in that extended wave, it would be longer than the other 2. And the other 2 would find some sort of rule of equality where they are either 1-to-1 or some sort of ratio that relates. So in that sense, this 3-wave, this potential 3-wave is too close in price to this 1-wave. Firstly, it's quite close, but it is not exactly 1-to-1. We can argue, so that's fine. Problem being is that it's shorter than this first wave. If this is done here, it's shorter than this first wave, which means it's definitely not the extended wave. It's not the longest wave. And in an impulse wave, the 3rd wave, as a rule, can't be the shortest wave. It cannot be the shortest wave. So then that would mean the 5th wave would have to be shorter than the 3rd wave, and the 3rd wave is too close to the 1st wave. So that means the 5th wave can't be the extended wave. So that's one thing. That's what leads us to somewhere around here, okay? Because it can't be longer than the 3rd wave, the 5th wave, and we're going to have some sort of internal relationship with it. The external relationship might be, well, at best 38% or something like that, but that's another story. I don't want to get too diverted. The idea being that we have to keep this 1 wave as an extended wave, and that fits a type of triangulation where we triangulate for this ending C wave, and that's been fitting the narrative this whole time for us over here. So, okay, the other thing being, though, that we're going to measure this relationship. What is the relationship of the 3 and the 1? Okay, and then we can find a similar relationship between the 3 and the 5. So 5th wave can't be the longest. It has to be shorter than the 3rd, because the 3rd is shorter than the 1st, and the 1st would be extended. It's not super pretty because the 1st and the 3rd are pretty close together, but whatever. And the whole thing is that it might not even be an impulse of a C wave of a flat pattern. So that's also possible now. And the implications of that being maybe that the price keeps going further down. Okay. Or implications being that this is not being counted properly, that there's something beyond this happening. Okay. In terms of not being counted properly, maybe the degree is improper or whatever. All right. Now, best case scenario though is that this is accurate enough. I mean, I think that we are working with a pretty accurate count here, I would have to say, but I'm biased to that. Okay. And also, none of this financial advice. I'm not an expert. And yeah, so let's look at some levels. If this one wave measures this much, and the 3 wave then would be measuring from this 0 to 2 trend line, roughly, around 78.6%, with wicks down quite low, near a 1, but not so much. But this is definitely the significant price action around 78.6, so we can play that game. Yeah, I was afraid for a little bit that the 5th wave would have to be extension. In that case, if it is, then we'd be looking at a 1-to-1 with this whole move, and we'd be looking at like a 15,000 type of a level. But because potentially this 3rd wave is shorter than this 1st wave, the 5th wave can't be longer than the 3rd wave. So that saves us. The only problem, like I said, is that maybe we're not done the 3rd wave and it's not being counted properly, and therefore there's something else going on. But so far, so good. So in that case, we would say this 3rd wave is about 78% of the 1st wave. Let's take 78% of this 3rd wave. Let's be generous but conservative and take 78%. Now, question is, where does it come from? We're going to do an internal relationship, but where does it come from? So we have a psychological 40. That would bring us around 28K, 28.5. We also have a 44 level, which brings us around our flat channel and around the 30,000 level. And we could always have deviations out of the channel, wicks or whatever. And the horizontal level lows would be around 28.5. So this is definitely possible. It makes sense, especially if we start coming from around the 44 levels and 45 levels. And when, from a 45,000 retracement where the 4th wave is around 45,000, and that means that, currently the price would be going towards 44, 45,000 before coming to hit the 5th wave, which that internal relationship means that 5th wave would be 76% of this 3rd wave. So that's interesting. And that plays in, and that allows for a triangulation here. Well, I don't know how much of a triangulation. That looks more like a continued channeling, doesn't it? We'll see, where does the 4 wave end? How fast does the price move up here? Because then, I don't know. This thing generally still looks like a channeling. That's one thing that's interesting about this whole move, and that makes me wonder what's going on. Is like, what kind of move is this, and what's happening? Like, is the price going to move out of this channel into here and then come back down, touch the channel? Like, are we going to March? Or what's the timing going to be? I don't know. It's just such a strange price move. It makes sense that the market would be finding a pathway which is quite challenging for participants to navigate on an individual basis. So anyway, this is a possibility here that we're seeing. Is this around this 30, 31, 29, 28 level for wicks, but 30, 31 level. Now let's just confirm that with retracements here. So if this 3 wave starting here retraces, then let me just get this off of here. Now, these retracements bring us, 38 0.2 is around 40, but at this point we'd be looking to narrow down. But then again, you know, maybe that's where the 50 comes in, and that's at a 42. And then again, the 61.8% is around the 44.5. So in that sense, yep, there you go. You'd be breaking through this 0 to 2 trend line, which is really what we'd be looking for. So it makes sense to be breaking out of this potential channeling, and create a 4. Is the 4 going to be here at like a 44, 45 level? Is it going to be just down at a 42 level? Or is it going to stay at a 40 level? And when is that? So at the 40 level, we're you know, it's not much there. Maybe it takes time and it stays around the 40 to 42 level and it comes from here. Maybe it comes from here. When, I don't know, but it seems like maybe things will be okay until March, and the price will kind of move its way up here diagonally with some ups and downs along the way. Exact levels to be determined. It's definitely possible. That shows us a way to move through February with some positivity. Anyway, we'll see. Could just be this 38% level. So we're going to take a look at each, and you know, just stay with it. Stay with the shorter term timeframes as you like. Okay, but yeah, I think let's say we take again, the extensions, and we go from here to the bottom, and we go from this level here, which was the 38.2 roughly. That's when we start breaking down below. If we're moving like 78%, if we're only staying 61.8%, then that would be when the price is coming to this level. So, I mean, I'm acting as though it has to be 78.6% as the ratio, but I'm just trying to use what we got before. I'm trying to just play with it. Obviously, it could be anything. Just as before, I said a likely target is a 61.8, but it went to a 78.6 level, and even beyond if you're counting the wick, right? So, yeah. So there are some levels there. And then if we are taking it instead from that 44 level, 45 level, you see that 78.6 drops us here. So overall, things remain possible. There is it a confirmation bias and we're just looking for things to confirm it, or is it just that it is following the similar movements that would create a C wave of an Elliott pattern on a huge time frame for us and big scale for this massive asset, which is revolutionizing the world one day at a time. And the price action itself is quite the phenomenon. And I'm glad to be here to share with you this idea, and as it's moving along, and I hope to be here for more. And I just feel blessed to be able to bring this to you and have you be here to absorb it. So take that in. I think we've covered everything, possible levels. You see, let's just zoom in one more time and create a couple of levels to watch. And then we're going to end it here. So I'm going to say we can break this 2 to 4 trend line out of here. Goodbye. And we can say some of those levels to play for the lower moves was, you know, it was definitely around here, right? So let's see what happens. Let's give it a color. Bang, and bang, bang, yeah. That's where the real slime lives. Who is going to be scared? Whoops. Who's going to be scared over here? A lot of people. That's a lot of scary cliff dwelling right there. That's for sure. Look at all of that cliff dwelling. All right. So that's your zone. Where does that leave us at the bottom there? It's around the 29.5. And then the top is around the 31.5. All right, that's good for me. Hope that's good for you. All right, until next time, we shall see what we're working with. Oh, I don't think I loaded this one. Anyway, we're done for now. I'm going to save this as the most recent deal. All right, BTC. Sweet. All right, until next time, I think that's it for me and the BTC. I hope you're doing well once again, and wishing you all the love, peace, and happiness, that you can manage.